Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for attending our webinar today on ODT Service. Today, we're going to hear from Kyle Lavery in Quality Assurance, who's very involved in this product update. I'll now hand the time over to Kyle.
All right, thank you very much, Mindy. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our presentation for ODT Service version 11, which we expect to be available early June. So a little bit about myself. My name's Kyle. I'm part of the quality assurance team here at Open Door Technology. I've been working here for well over 3 years now, and I spent the majority of that time working with the service team. And we have some exciting things to show off for you today. First, we'd like to demonstrate the visual resource scheduler. Then I'd like to go over some improvements to the technician role center, followed by a demonstration of our approval workflows. And then at the end of the presentation, we'll go over some additional features and a roadmap for future updates. And then we'll answer some questions that anyone might have. So our first feature for today is our visual resource scheduler. So this is a visual calendar that you can use to assign service tickets and tasks to your technicians. You can view by day, by week, or by month, and you can manage assign tasks and tickets with a simple drag and drop interface. So here we are in my role center for Business Central. And if we open up the resource scheduler here, so you can see currently we're reviewing today's date, as well as a list of tickets and tasks on the right, and a list of resources on the left. Resources are sorted based on their resource group, and as well on the resource card, there is a toggle that lets you decide which resources will show up on the scheduler and which ones will not. The calendar here is based on a standard Business Central calendar. So I have one already created here. We have Saturdays and Sundays as non-working days, as well as some holidays such as Victoria Day. If I take a moment to switch over to our week view, so you can see we have a view of the week, as well as controls to view next to previous weeks. You'll notice that some of these days are different colors to mark out the non-working days. So on the last week, you will have noticed Saturday was a different color, and you'll also notice Sunday and Monday on the next week are different colors to correspond with non-working days on the calendar. So I'll simply switch back to the day view for our demo today. So to assign a task, it's a simple drag and drop interface. So if we want to assign a service ticket to Catherine, for example, I'll simply drag it over, and you can see Catherine has been assigned the service ticket. You'll notice on the right that the tasks change color to indicate that they have been assigned. We don't necessarily need to assign the entire ticket. We can assign individual tasks as well. So for the second service ticket, if I want to assign this first task to Catherine, but maybe I'd like to assign this second task to Marty. So as you can see, we can assign tasks individually to different technicians. Additionally, by default, it's set up to book for 1 hour, but if we want to change that time, say, for example, Marty's a new guy, he needs a little more time for his task, we can expand the bar like so. So a nice and easy way to schedule tasks for your technicians and schedule different amounts of time. At this point, you'll notice that these different tasks are different colors. And the reason for this is based on the status of the service ticket. So if I hover over this task here, we get a little bit of information about the task, and you'll see that the status is set to released. But if I hover over the orange task, you'll see that the status is set to on hold. So a nice and easy way to, at a glance, get an idea of not only which technicians are working on which tasks, but also what the current status of those tasks are. If I double click on this task, we'll get a brief page here showing some information about the task, as well as an option to directly open the service ticket. Now, if I go to this replace air filter task and view technicians, we can see that Marty has been assigned. So whenever a task is assigned to a technician on the scheduler, the ticket will automatically update to show which technicians are assigned to which task. So we can continue to assign tasks as we see fit. Once we've assigned all the tasks we need to, if I switch over to the Technician Rule Center from Marty's perspective, you can see that it shows that he's had some tasks assigned. And now he can go ahead and do his work on the task that he needs to. Now that we are at the Technician Rule Center, I think this would be a good time to talk about some of the enhancements we made to it. So the Technician Rule Center was a feature that we added in our last update, and of course we have been adding additional features to improve the experience. So switching back to Marty here, first off, I'd like to point out that we now have a notes fact box on the right here under the ticket task list. So from here, we can add notes about the ticket for whatever the technician feels is necessary. So say, for example, maybe there's a part for this ticket that needs to be ordered. We can add a note, and that will show up. Before we proceed to the ticket, I would like to direct your attention to our service management setup, as we have a couple new options in here. So first off, I'll direct your attention to these two fields at the bottom here. Normally, whenever you open up a service task card, you'll be given a prompt to clock in or out of the task, and you'll also be given a prompt to change the status. With these two fields, you can now control how often those messages will appear. So by default, they're set to always, but we also have options to only display when you open the task, only display when you close the task, or never display at all if you wish to control those processes manually. Additionally, these are set individually. So for example, if I only wish to be clock in when I open the task, but I want to have status changes when I close the task, I can set those separately. Additionally, we also have a toggle here for multiple clocking. So in the last update, the limitation was a technician could only ever be clocked into one task at a given time. With this, if I turn it on, now you'll be able to clock into multiple tasks at a time. So if I go ahead and open this task, you'll see it asks me to clock in, as we expect. It'll ask me to enter a meter reading because this service unit has a meter attached to it. And you can also see our note from earlier shows up in the task card. Now, for demonstration purposes, I added it on the task list, but if you were a technician doing your work, you could add the note here, and then it would display on the task list, and then you don't have to open up the card each and every time you want to view your notes. So if I close out here, you'll notice as per what we specified on service management setup, I get prompted to update the service status, but I do not get prompted to clock out. Now, if I go over to our second task here and attempt to open it, you'll see we have a notification saying I'm already clocked into another task, and it will ask if I'd like to clock out. If I say no, I get the option to clock into this task. So I'll say yes. I'll enter my meter reading. And now Marty is clocked into two different tasks at the same time. If I go back out to the Technician Rule Center here, at the very top, you'll notice we have a new option here called Current Time Tracking. And if I open this menu, you'll see we get a list of every technician that is currently clocked into a task, as well as what task they are currently working on. So this is a nice and convenient way to get an idea of which technicians are currently working and which tasks they are currently working on. So those are some of the improvements we've made to the technician rule. For our last feature to demonstrate today, I am going to show our approval workflows. So this is an extension of standard Business Central approvals. So when this is enabled, some functions on service tickets will require approval before they can be performed. So if I go back to Marty here, and we'll switch back to the Business Manager Rule Center. If I quickly open up workflow templates, you'll notice that we have a couple pre-made workflow templates specifically for ODT Service. Now, of course, you can make any of these as you want. For demonstration purposes, I have already made one. So to enable approvals, we simply enable the workflow. Now, when Marty goes to view a service ticket, say he decides, I think it's time to create an invoice for this. If I attempt to create the invoice, we'll get a response here saying that this service ticket must receive approval first. And likewise, if we try to do some other actions, such as print the proforma, the same result. So to request approval, you simply open the Approvals tab and send your request. Now, if I switch back to my own Rule Center, under the Approvals tab here, you can see I have a request to approve. So of course, I could approve it here if I'd like. I could also open the record and view the service ticket directly. So from here, I can take a look at the service ticket. Oh, I see Marty requested an approval. I think everything looks good. Now I can approve it, reject it, or delegate to someone else. In this case, I've decided to approve it. Now the service ticket has been approved. If I go back to Marty, and Marty attempts to create the invoice again, you'll see that now that the invoice has been approved, we can continue with the process without issues. So if your particular workflow requires some sort of approval process, you now have a way to do so. So those are the big features we wanted to demonstrate to you today. But of course, we have a couple other exciting features coming in this update. Notably, we've added a new way to create service units. You can now create them from items and fixed assets by using them as a template. So if you happen to have any items or fixed assets already in your inventory, you can now use them as a template to create a service unit without having to do so manually by hand. Additionally, the Apply Maintenance Expense feature that we added in the last update, which was previously only available on service tickets, we have now added to planned maintenance tickets as well. So more options for you to use this feature if you wish. So that's everything for this update. Coming in the next update, we currently have planned phase 2 of our warranty feature, as well as a feature to email links to service tickets directly. So that's everything I wanted to demonstrate for you today.
Thanks so much, Carl. That was great to see those new features. It doesn't look like there are any questions right now. If you think of one later, please feel free to email us at hi@opendoorerp.com and someone will get back to you right away with an answer. Thanks so much for your time today, and thanks again to Carl for a great presentation. We appreciate you joining us, and have a great day, everyone.